All right.
Hello, it's September 15th, 2022, and this is the weekly Backdrop developer meeting. Today is release day of Backdrop 123.0, and we haven't made the release yet, but we'll be talking about any last items, very last items, and then making the release pretty shortly after this meeting today. Let's do some introductions. First, my name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the internet, core committer for the Backdrop project, and I'm calling from Oakland, California. We'll go to Tim and then Robert.
My name is Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim. I'm here in Deerwood, Minnesota today, and yeah, excited about all the upcoming events we have and about a release. We're launching a backdrop site this week. That's exciting. That's it.
Tim, Robert, and then Jen.
I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet, coming to you from Altadena, California.
Thanks, Robert. Jen, and then Justin.
I'm Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California. That's it for me.
And Justin.
Yep. Justin Christopherson, joining from Denver, Colorado.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All right. So let's see. Before we get into the core updates, Jen, we have a couple of community oriented announcements, I think.
Yes, we have a couple new modules that came out in the last week: Civi CRM fields and file entity inline. So don't know who's working on those. Looks like maybe Laren. So thank you for continued contrib project development. Oh, and Tim. Thank you, Tim. That's it.
All right. Fantastic. And let's see, also in the realm of community, we have a big code sprint like day tomorrow. It is correct me, it's called Open Source Day. Is it under umbrella of called Grace Hopper Celebration?
Yep.
Grace Hopper Celebration Open Source Day. Great. Yeah, we have a large number of contributors that have volunteered to participate in that. I don't think that this was discussed during the outreach meeting, so we can talk a little bit about what that's going to look like here. Jen, Tim, and I are the mentors for the Backdrop group. There's a Slack channel that apparently looks like it will be the central place for coordination. And yeah, I'm really curious what this is going to look like. How many issues do we have queued up, to handle an influx of developers? Could be really interesting. So, Tim, do you know any more details on this?
Well, minor correction. We're technically project representatives. They provide their own mentors.
Oh,
and
excellent.
They have mentors in addition to us that are available to sort of help with technical issues. Of course, we know the project the best, so we're there to help with the backdrop process, but they do have other mentors. Anyways, not too much more than that. We did talk briefly about this in the previous meeting, and I think the main thing is we need, if anybody is able to help triage and sort of maybe flag some good first issues tonight, we could have a sizable number. I think our experience in the past has been that sometimes it drops off during the day pretty quickly, and a lot of people don't get fully started. But our job is to try to keep as many of them as engaged and get them working on issues. And the more sort of easy issues we have to get people started on, the more likely we'll get them engaged. And also, what we have found, Nate, that works really well in the past is taking a pretty easy issue and doing it as a group, where we walk through the whole process. Like, here's a dev environment, here's how we test the issue, let's fix it together. I think the perfect issue, it could be as simple as a text change, but I think even better would be like a simple CSS change or something like that. Those are sometimes really good kind of issues. And we should have some issues available, sort of flagged, that we can do that with. Although the walking through the process of finding an issue, now that I think about it, that's also valuable, right? Is like going through how do you filter for and find easy issues to work on. But we'll probably have to go through that process at least twice during the day, because also, in addition to there being a lot of people at the beginning, sometimes there are a handful that come in late and they have missed the earlier. It's helpful to go through it again. So
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah,
The
quite
big-
a
the big takeaway is if it's a release day, everybody's busy, but if you have a few minutes and you can help flag a good first issue in the queue, that would be helpful. That's it. I'll shut up.
Thanks, Tim. No, I'm very excited about this, and I'm curious. Sorry, I'm gonna pull you back in and talk about it a little bit more. Um, how did the volunteers land on Backdrop as the project that they wanted to participate in? We have an estimate that is private right now, but it's very large number of people, and I'm curious, like how did they land on Backdrop? Because I mean, there's tons of other projects that look like they're kind of intimidating, but my perspective, like Node.js, some other. Let's hang on. I saw some other ones that I mean, there's like representatives from like Microsoft and GitLab and like all of these
There's like a
major.
NASA open source initiative where you can like
Yeah,
help
and
NASA open source all their
you know,
code.
it's just a little old Backdrop. Like, how did people land on us versus other projects?
So to start off, there are a ton of contributors. I think they're estimating like 2,000 people were going to sign up and contribute on this day. They have a handful of projects, like maybe 15 of them, and each project was able to specify the number of people that they were capable of helping on open source day. And so we limited ours to like the smallest number, which was like 50 or under or something like that. And then they ask you to list the languages required for working on your project. So we included like PHP, HTML, CSS, stuff like that. And then people would be able to indicate, like, I want a specific project you could choose, or you could say, I don't have a choice, and they will assign you at random to different projects. So maybe not everybody chose us. There might have been people who are like, I have PHP and HTML experience, choose one for me. And OSD might have just filtered them into our group.
Okay, thanks. That's really helpful. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, I want to respond to people appropriately. When they start coming in, like, I don't know how high their level of enthusiasm is, but I totally expect it to be primarily like I just want to do open source stuff, figure out GitHub, and that's going to be the primary thing, and Backdrop will just be the means through which they learn.
Yeah. And most of these people are women with either degrees in computer science, often fresh out of college or grad school, or women who are interested in changing into computer science as a new career. So they might have some experience in whatever their current job is and be like, oh, this is a lot of fun. I want to switch to it. So there's a lot of people who are just like, if contributing to open source is going to make me a better developer, I want to learn how to do it. And so they might not necessarily have any particular objective, but they're like, I hear this is good for me. I believe in whatever open source in general. Let's figure it out. So
all of that is true. The one extra thing is that it's usually super international, right? Like most of the participants are scattered throughout the world from the, Africa, Asia, some in Europe. It's very international.
Yeah.
At least that was our experience in the past.
Wow, fantastic.
So some of them are like working at 3 a.m. in their home countries, and sometimes they're the ones. So some of the people dropping off, it's very reasonable, right? Because it's super late for them.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Yeah, we're looking forward to that tomorrow. Let's see. Is there any thing that our community should be doing to help support them? Are we just going to say like, hey, you might be seeing a little higher than active core issue activity, and if you can participate and be extra friendly, then please do so? That sort of thing?
I think exactly that. I mean, fortunately, this is like our 4th time we've done this, so I think most of our active contributors have been through this before and seen it. But if you're watching this and you're going to be in the issue queue tomorrow, feel free, please do help these folks sometimes, we're telling them to ask questions in the issue queue as well as talking to us in the Zoom channel. But if you see questions in the issue queue and are able to help them out, please do that. Please be very friendly and patient. I don't know what else. Yeah, I mean, that's primarily it. And again, just repeat, if you have ideas for good first issues, please help flag them so that we have them available. That's all. We might, I don't, Jen, have we ever pointed people to I think we've had people, we will mention our Zulip channel to them usually, mostly because there's already a Slack channel. People stay there for the day, but just be prepared. Some people could show up in Zulip, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the Backdrop core update. So, as mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, today is release day for Backdrop 123. 1.23.0. Releases come out every 4 months, and today is once again going to be just consistent and rolled out as usual. Let's see, we've had the Backdrop preview release out for 2 weeks. The one item that has been flagged as being a concern is issue 5764, that some of our tests for comment module were not running because of a syntax error, actually. So issue 5764 has been addressed and merged. So that's, I think, the only actual change that we've had since the preview release was created. Well, I say only change to 123 in particular. We also had about a dozen bug fixes go through in the last couple of weeks related to 122.3, which also get pulled into the 123 version. So there's actually like a dozen more commits since the preview release was created, but they're just general bug fixes that apply both to the current version and to the new release that will be coming out today. So I'm really stoked about the state of things. We're in like a really good place for releases. Let's see, the 122 milestone has 19 closed issues. So that's 19 bug fixes that will be going out today as well. We make the last release of the previous minor version simultaneously. So 122.3 will also be coming out today shortly. As far as scheduling is concerned, today has been really hectic for Jen and I, at least, and so the scheduling of the release is going to happen not quite right after this meeting, but an hour, about 4 p.m. After I get back from the dentist.
It's dentist day here for whatever reason.
So, yeah, I don't think that we have any major items or anything that need help. We do have the checklist for the release. Let's see, that is issue. It's right at the top of the issue queue because it was just created a couple hours ago. Issue 5781 is the checklist for the minor release. So if you want to see how things are progressing, you can check out 5781 and follow along with the checklist as we get things done. We also normally have a fair amount of back channel in Zulip if anything comes up. So yeah, we didn't have anything in the forum post for today, and it's generally really pretty quiet anyway, because today is release day. Anything that could have gotten in basically has at this point. And most of the activity has been just around normal bug fixes and changes. So I think that there's a lot of pressure leading up to releases as people rush to get in the last things that they can, and then usually after a release, people like to take a little bit of a breather, which is completely fine and healthy. So I'm not sure, like if we have anything else to discuss today. We've got the release coming up in a couple hours, and then after that, it'll just be back to business as usual. We'll start up with backdrop 124, the next minor release. The only item that was bumped out of the 123 release was field group functionality, issue 647. So we'll be continuing that into the 124 milestone. 124 milestone, let's take a look at that. So we have opened the 124 milestone on GitHub. Looks like the only issue we have so far is a proposal to potentially add alt and title fields to the image entity. And looks like Yorkshire Pudding is the advocate for this. Interesting. I haven't read through this issue yet. It's 4007. This could be an interesting proposal. One consequence of this would be that if we move the alt and title attributes to the entity instead of being part of the file, well, a couple of things will happen. One is that right now the alt and title are stored with the node, like on the image field. So you can set a different alt and title everywhere an image is used. It's the same image, but has different alt and title. And if you put it in one location on the entity, then that one alt and title gets used everywhere. Potentially, we could maintain both locations, and maybe the thing that's on the entity is used as the default. Or you could have, like, if you leave it blank, then the default will be used, that sort of thing. But it also raises a complication that this would make it so that when inserting an image using an image field, you would probably need to be able to edit the entity in line if you're going to be putting attributes on the entity and not on the field. So that could open up a whole slew of potential difficulties. But I'm really curious to see where this issue goes. It's marked as something that's like, hey, this is something D7 already does, Drupal 7. And if that's the case, then we'll probably adopt whatever approach had been used from Drupal 7. I'm guessing that that's the direction that this is heading. Well, anyway, that's the only issue besides file group that has been moved into the 124 milestone, which means, just generally speaking, the door is open for new features, new feature requests. Obviously, there's lots of feature requests already out there, but the door is open for people to start picking up the issues that they're interested in, become an advocate for it, which is just as simple as saying, I'd like to advocate for this issue, and then adding the label milestone candidate dash minor, saying I would like this to be in the next minor release. Let's see, I'm going to take a look actually at that label, milestone candidate minor. There's actually a lot of issues in the milestone candidate minor. There's 80 of them. That's incredible. Most of those, usually that means that they're waiting for an advocate, because it really just means an advocate can come into any one of those issues and then move it into the milestone. So anyway, lots of options for people looking for things to do. I don't have anything else really to cover. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up or mention? It's all quiet. Okay, well, maybe we'll have a short meeting today. Happy release day, everyone. Looking forward to getting that cut and pushed out later this afternoon. And thank you, everyone, for your patience. I know having a release of Backdrop come out, at 6 p.m. in some parts of the Americas, or after midnight in Europe really isn't ideal. But I think that just means that the majority of our promotion and, hey, the release is out, will be happening tomorrow. So that's fine.
I'm going to do some issue queue cleanup on titles and summaries for all of the issues in the milestone. But other than that, is there anything you want me to do while you're at the dentist?
Yeah,
You can start on
so
release notes.
release
maybe.
notes. Yep.
Okay.
And Tim dropped off. I haven't checked on the state of a blog post.
Yeah, we talked
announcing the
about it
release.
a little in the outreach meeting. He said he has time to do it over the weekend, and if anyone else wanted to do it before then, they would be welcome to. Part of what I'm going to do today with my issue summary update is adding that paragraph at the bottom. That's what would you put in the newsletter to announce this feature. So hopefully that'll help when someone does get to it. I'll just have to pull those out and like rephrase them however they feel is sensible. And
Okay, so for today and probably tomorrow, announcements likely will be pointing to the release on GitHub rather than a blog post. And we'll follow up with a blog post covering like, hey, check out all the new stuff that's in 123 that goes into more detail and pictures and everything like that. Okay, yeah, it sounds like a plan.
Great.
Okay, well, let's call it a day then. Thanks, and yeah, we'll see everybody online soon. And yeah, big Grace Hopper celebration day tomorrow. Please keep your eyes peeled for new contributors and be nice. You always are, but extra nice. Okay,